So I got to tell you, Future has just released a mixtape, and it is weird and ominous that at the same time he seems to be defending OJ Simpson, thinking he should be freed, but then also saying he's a murderer. And then I feel like he's threatening Russell Wilson over Ciara.
It is possible, although there are a lot of factors at play here. So the song is called Juice. It's actually Future's DJ Esco. It's his mixtape, and Future is on a few of the songs, including this one. So listen first you're gonna hear the OJ Simpson part, but then there's a reference to his baby mama and a threat that definitely goes down.
Court of California, County of Los Angeles. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder.
This person now, free him now. Murder trials, OJ Simpson, white on white. OJ Simpson, double murder. OJ Simpson, tryna baby mama, dog, what's up with you? You gon' make me get that heat, I'm pulling up on you. Certified maniac, don't you test my patience.
Okay. I gotta say, which do you want to start with?
Okay, let's start with the easier part. Here's what I think happened. I think look, everyone knows that OJ Simpson is a very popular topic now because of the documentary on ESPN, because of the FX show. Everyone's talking about OJ, right? So you want to do a song that people are going to immediately latch into?
I don't understand what he's saying. It sounds like he's saying free him and then he's a murderer.
I think DJ Esco said, all right, I'm going to do the drop from the verdict being announced, and then you just say some stuff about OJ and then say whatever else you want. Some of that other stuff you wanted to say was about his baby mama. Trying to bleep my baby mama, dog, what's up with you?
And then he talks about having heat.
No, that heat is code for a gun.
Right, and
yes.
I'm pulling up on you. When he talks about a gun, I'm pulling up on you.
So
that sounds ominous to me.
Now,
okay, listen,
the reality is that
here's the situation. He has multiple baby mamas, okay? And on top of that, Future is known to be like a trap king where he raps about a lot of different situations and it's just rap music.
So Raquel, I gotta ask you.
We're on the feud. We're playing the feud, right? This is how we do this. You're playing the feud. Name 6 Future baby mamas. Who's number 1?
I can't name
Who's
6
number
Future
1?
baby mamas.
Right,
well, obviously Ciara's number 1, but you guys, hold on.
Who's number 2?
What's her name? The one with the brand new.
Exactly.
What's her name?
Exactly.
What's her name?
Exactly.
Who's number 3?
But listen,
Who's
hold
number
on. You
3?
guys, listen. No, we're
You're
not going to
making
play
our
the.
point.
No, time out. We're not going to make this point. We're
Yes,
going to make
we
the.
are.
No,
What do you mean? We just did.
It's
too late. We just made the
you
point.
guys, hold on. You guys,
It's
I think,
Russell
are
Wilson.
dissecting the whole situation,
It's
though, right?
Russell Wilson.
No. I will say this. Point is, clearly he knows that if he says this, everyone is going to think that it is Russell Wilson. Now, I don't know if he was talking about Russell Wilson. I have no idea, but he knows when he says that.
Can I ask you another question about that as well?
Okay.
When he's saying murder trial O.J. Simpson, double murder O.J. Simpson, then he says white on white. What does that mean?
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
None of it makes any sense.
Absolutely no sense.
I think that's just rambling.
It makes no sense. But I mean,
we should let. I want Raquel.
I do want to say one thing before Raquel. Future has had long-standing beef with Ciara over Russell Wilson, the kid. She has gone back at him over this.
But he backed off recently.
I understand that. But what else is there in his life going on that...
Well, he does have other baby mamas.
Yeah, there's a number of things. And you guys don't actually really think that Future would threaten Russell Wilson and Ciara on a song for real for the entire world to hear. You guys know that that's not.
I don't think he really is, but I think he is playing into it because it's going to sell records. Right? He knows what the public's going to think.
Well, I think that OJ is very zeitgeisty right now. He wanted to get ears on the mixtape, even though he's one of the hottest rappers out. He doesn't really need to do any stunts to pull as far as to get people to listen to him. But I think that Russell and Ciara are safe from
right. Well, the other option is that he's created this hypothetical situation in his head that's based on the O.J. Simpson thing, and he's rapping about that, making up a story, basically.
Hey, Van, if I say to somebody, I'm sorry, but if I say to somebody, I've got a gun and I'm going to pull up on you and don't blank with me,
would love to see that. I would love to see that.
If you were a threat.
But if you were a rapper, so you get away with it then. On a song, you can get away with some of that.
There are a bunch of songs, like what Pumped Up Kicks, the song, remember that song from a couple years ago? Songs about school shooting. That's what the song was about. It was a big hit everywhere. Nobody's gonna start frisking those guys when they go to perform their songs at
Actually,
college.
That guy, didn't that guy not get into a Prince concert?
Yeah, that guy got kicked
Yeah,
out.
he did. That's right. He got
But it
turned
wasn't
away.
because of that.
We
It
gotta
should
go-
have been.
We gotta go back to Raquel.
We have to go back to Raquel.
We gotta give
please.
Raquel her due. There you go.
Okay, what's my due? I just said that it's honestly, I know source close to the situation, right? I can tell you that he's rapping, just doing rap music. This is, if you listen to all Future's music, right, it's just songs, and that's what it is. He does not have a situation with Sierra at all. He does not wish harm on her or Russell. He doesn't even think about her at all anymore. He's like so far past that. Even if you look at his lawsuit he just dropped recently against her, because he's saying she's irrelevant in his life. So why, as far as the topic, I think it's people petty.
Well said.
Hey guys, it's Crystal from Dallas, Texas. A couple of things. One, Ron Goldman was a figure that OJ was jealous of. So I think that's really what the lyric means. Also, can somebody ask what are we freeing OJ from? Robbery? I mean, that's why he's in prison.
There are
so
options.
I'm confused.
Well, we're actually freeing him from murder, even though the judge said it was robbery. She sentenced him to get back at him because he wasn't found guilty for murder. That's pretty clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay.